From the movie that gave us this iconic line,
कौन है ये लोग? कहां से आते हैं ये?
and also gave us this iconic reaction, comes the third part that I absolutely had no doubt had all the ingredients to be a commercial Bollywood entertainer. Everyone should tune in for this weekend. There's no way anyone could have messed up this collaboration. The Jolly LLB franchise has been somewhat of an underrated IP that people don't talk about as often as other popular franchises. I must tell you, even when I revisited the first two films this year, the first Jolly LLB with Arshad Warsi and Baman Irani is still one of the best commercial courtroom dramas made in Bollywood. In Jolly LLB 2, much to people's dismay, the cast had changed, the budget was increased, and a star like Akshay Kumar was cast. But if you were to set aside the commercial forces that can often be unfair in the film industry, most people found the second film, like me, to be a fairly good watch. While unanimously people considered it to be weaker than the first installment, it was elevated due to its performances and a still remembered effective climax. The makers, in my opinion, carried out a masterstroke by making sure that both their Jollies come together in one film. Jolly LLB 3, directed by Subhash Kapoor, who has made all three films, focuses on both Arshad Warsi and Akshay Kumar reprising their roles from the franchise. Arshad playing Jolly from Meerut and Akshay playing Jolly from Kanpur, finding themselves in the same Delhi district court where they often get into conflict with each other, mainly owing to their same name. The lawyers find themselves taking up a case against one another that is presided by their favourite judge, Sundar Lal Tripathi, played by Saurabh Shukla. The trailer presented us glimpses of how the case may be about a powerful industrialist, Hira Bhai Khaitan, played by Gajraj Rao, who presumably only seeks for the top dollar and high profits, even if it is at the cost of the common man. While Akshay Kumar feels drawn towards the monetary benefits of associating with the industrialist, as the case is further explored, one realizes the detrimental impacts it may have on a village and its inhabitants, led fearlessly by Janki Rajaram Solanki, played by Seema Biswas, who is represented by Arshad Warsi. The case is inspired by the 2011 Bhatta and Parsol land acquisition case. How the case develops with the quintessential Jolly LLB humor, twists along the way, and the harsh truth of our country forms the basic premise of this movie. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Jolly LLB in theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Terrible marketing for a successful franchise. This is just in reference to being a side note. I was absolutely shocked seeing the lack of interest and bookings for a film that is not only a part of a successful franchise but features popular faces with some of the best comic timing in the industry. The problem is that the makers have employed the same exhausted trope of promoting this film through commercial dance numbers, and I had posted this being critical of this approach, but I was being reminded by people that this is consistent with how the older films have been marketed. My only reply is that this is a completely different market post the pandemic, and you have to be really naive to employ the same tools that worked close to a decade ago. When you have two of the best comedic actors sharing screen space together who are equally hilarious off camera in their interviews, I believe their press tour would have been one for the ages, as these two actors don't even need curated, manufactured, scripted PR orders. They literally, through banter and their own dynamic, make people interested about the film. These random dancing music videos not leading to ticket sales is proof enough that one should wake up and reject such dated methods, at least for this genre of film. Minor sequences and elements. There are moments only from the first half of the movie that may act as minor roadblocks, and this is genuinely a person nitpicking from an otherwise brilliantly made commercial courtroom drama. I just felt that a lot of the humor, while brilliantly performed by the two leads, largely depended on physical insults, which is something that is widely regarded as dated or one is critical of when it comes to low-hanging fruit humor that we see on the Kapil Sharma show. Insults as comedic tools I feel is rather lazy. Akshay is mostly found calling his secretary Mota or Genda, calling Arshad Warsi Chotu or Tengu, and his own wife, played by Huma Qureshi, Saat Paranthe Pel Deti Hai Waise, while mocking her diet claims. These, in my opinion, are the easiest way to extract cheap laughs from audiences. Finally, for this one sequence, which I believe is a classic case of increasing in scale and hence believing that bigger means better, the makers really may have thought that they want a grand and epic interval block. and they end up formulating a very illogical and unintentionally funny sequence just to make a statement which could have otherwise been utilized through dramatic tools, like acting. It is, however, communicated through this large action set piece that involves racing cars and camels that seem completely far removed from the otherwise understated and realistic tonality of the movie. I understand what the makers were going for, but as it played out on the big screen, it seemed to be an idea that was great on paper but came across as very over the top in practice. The balance without trivializing. What I love about the way the screenplay developed in this movie was that it allowed for moments of banter, of scuffles, of absolutely hilarious scenes, still staying true to the comedic flair of the franchise, yet never outweighing its presence where it trivializes the matters of the case. Most of the first half deals with both the Jollies trying to evade work, looking at making a quick buck or two, but absolutely avoiding getting emotionally involved in cases that may demand a lot of time and offer next to negligible monetary benefits. This includes several scenes where the characters are roughing each other up, making their daily work schedules a pain for each other, and how their mere existence has a detrimental health impact on their presiding judge, played by Saurabh Shukla. I found it very funny that whenever Akshay got into a physical scuffle with Arshad, he ends up roughing up people surrounding the drama versus the one calling him out. For anyone who has followed Akshay Kumar's filmography, you'll know that he loves roughing up some extras. Whenever Akshay channelizes his inner Harami Raju with that smile, it just makes me immediately laugh. When surrounded by people seeing his sorry circumstances, in one instance, Akshay ends up doing a mujra in front of them, baffled on how they are standing looking at his miserable state. There is one sequence that is set on Valentine's Day that truly has to be the icing on the cake, of actors just with impeccable comic timing, and how the trio of the Jollies and Sundarlal Tripathi are just a perfect combination, ideal for an entertaining commercial Bollywood movie. The reason for its brilliance also is that with the film's popularity, they haven't abandoned the nature of these characters, a sign of consistency in the franchise when one focuses on the writing versus getting carried away, which becomes the case mostly with franchises in Bollywood. So credit goes to Subhash Kapoor, the director and writer of the film. The supporting cast. I love the work of the cast in this film. I literally cannot fault anyone. I thought Huma Qureshi as the spunky Pushpa and Amrita as the pragmatic and level-headed Sandhya were commendable, even though their appearances are extremely brief. I thought Saurabh Shukla was such a treat to watch in this film. He got more scope outside the courtroom in this venture to show his personality, and we got a little insight into his personal life. And the cheeky smile that he sports while anyone even remotely inquires about his love life had me wheezing. His reactions in the courtroom are equally entertaining, and the palpitations and anxiety that creeps in as the Jollies appear in front of him genuinely looked real. Ram Kapoor is perfectly cast in this role as a competent and expensive lawyer, as I hope one wouldn't mind me saying this. He exactly belongs to this sobo affluent neighborhood that produces the richest lawyers. He is an extension of what Baman Irani represented in the first film. I was very impressed by Gajaraj Rao too. His portrayal of the industrialist is very interesting, as his demeanor is of restraint and ease, of this odd confidence when challenged. He doesn't raise his voice, but almost has a condescending gaze as his ego gets hurt. He is a man who despises poverty and idolizes wealth and prosperity, no matter what it is at the cost of. And this allows for several moments of hypocrisy of what is public and what is beneath that really makes you end up despising him. Ideal for an antagonist in any movie. I loved Seema Biswas in this film. For her resilience is captured brilliantly, a character associated with less dialogues, but her stand against those with influence translates through just a mere glance at what has been endured. The concluding moments of the film and how her voice echoes in the halls of the courtroom brought me goosebumps. An exceptionally crafted sequence that just elevated this movie beyond just a regular courtroom drama. The theme and the larger picture. You have to understand what you are stepping in for when watching the Jolly LLB franchise. It makes a courtroom essentially a stage from a dramatic play. It is not about merely the evidence related to the case, but is enhanced by the dramatic nature in which closing statements are delivered. This is far away from how courtrooms function. but there is a pitch and nature of courtroom dramas we have become accustomed to, and when you are in for that ride, you can't help but be swayed by the emotion because it is done with so much conviction. The themes of the have-nots having to sacrifice for the greater good of our nation is beautifully communicated through the performances of both Akshay Kumar and Arshad Warsi. Both the actors with great comedic timing, but when they need to channelize their dramatic chops, they end up doing so with flying colors. I got weirdly emotional looking at both Akshay Kumar and Arshad Warsi in this movie, especially near the concluding moments of the film. For this is appearing at a time where I see countless interviews of directors and producers saying that they cannot cast a two-hero film. And while Arshad may not technically be considered to be a star, what I saw with these two individuals were not only actors who committed to their characters, but contemporaries who were immensely collaborative with one another. It genuinely came across as a project devoid of ego, where both actors actively worked towards the goal of the greater good for the project versus getting into tussles of who is hogging more screen time, and this oddly gets communicated in the film, making Jolly LLB 3 genuinely a well-made and well-intentioned commercial courtroom drama that I would highly recommend to all of you. You don't get this often on the channel where I passionately end with urging you to go to the theatre, but genuinely, when they do come, rare as they might be, I can't help but influence you a little bit to watch this on the big screen. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Jolly LLB 3. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.